Happy Thursday, everybody. Just seeing, give a little bit here, let some people get in here. I know I'm up against a couple regular streamers. There's that. Just like I said, just starting off here. Just let see if anybody gets in here. Oh, they changed that. Very, very hot here today. Yesterday and today, it was a little bit tomorrow, but it's cooling off tomorrow, but a real small heat wave, but it is hot. Very, very hot. It's supposed to get about 106 degrees Fahrenheit today, which I think is like 41. Desi, thank you for the resub. Appreciate it. So I'm doing something a little different today because of the heat. It's just too hot to be walking around already. It's already in the mid 90s right now. So, Huma, hey buddy. And both those emotes right there, Huma created for me, and thank you for that, Huma. So what I'm gonna be doing today actually is cleaning up a little bit of gold I have in some concentrates. Hey Nanny, thank you. And as Nanny pointed out, today is actually my birthday. So, figured we'd do a little birthday stream and also clean up a little bit of gold, or clean up some of the stuff and get some gold going that I've had here for a little bit from some of the prospecting I've been doing end of last summer and over the winter. And if you see me looking down, I'm just looking at this. It's easier to read chat than the little tiny little window I have there. Uma, thank you for the sub. And thank you guys for driving Hype Train. So what we'd like to what we're doing here is pretty quickly is we'll get this set up, and I'll actually flip you around and show you what I got going on. So let me do that. Thank you, Woody. Appreciate it. So what I'm gonna be doing is using this little mini sluice. There. It's not really in focus, but not sure why it's not. Thanks for the bits, me too. Thank you. Desi, thanks for the gift subs. Appreciate it. But anyhow, I got some material that I have from. That is actually from. That might be from the mini trommel that a buddy of mine have. I'm trying to figure out why this is not focusing. Yeah, it is not focusing. Let me try this again. Okay, so that's not sure what's going on there, but I might just flip it around here and just say, we'll make it work here. Not sure what's going on with the back rear camera. Not focusing. Okay, there, that's focusing. Desi, thank you very, very much. So anyhow, what I said is, so the bucket of dirt on this side, that's from a mini trommel that we ran some material through. Should be a little bit of rock in there, but not much. I don't remember what's in that at all. That's just an empty bucket to use. Then I've got some other things here I'm gonna kind of clean up. No, it was blurry. I'm not sure why that was not focusing. Let me change the zoom here. Yeah, so on one-time zoom, it's something's a little goofy, and I'm not going to restart it just for that. Something in the app, so we can just play around with the zooms and make that work. So just an update on the creek from last time you guys saw it. It's getting a lot lower. It could be summertime, but it's still actually looking pretty nice. I have weed eated it a bunch. Sure, no drinks. Sorrow Fade, thanks for the sub, buddy. Good to see you, brother. So, but it is, I do plan on doing some sniping down in here soon. And then when I was picking up trash on the Earth Day stream, I saw some other spots I want to check out too. Not today, but we'll do that. But the flooding, so far so good, Sorrow Fade. I just wish it wasn't so hot. Sniping, Desi, is a method of retrieving gold or other objects from the bottom of a creek. I might have some stuff in links or somewhere, but you're basically, so you use a snorkel mask and you get down to the bottom. No, 65 mile per hour wind or extreme heat. No, because the wind will cause damage. I don't have to go to work. So gold has a specific gravity of 19.3, if I remember right. But it's one of the heaviest things you're gonna find in a creek bed. And so it works its way down to the bottom, sits on bedrock in cracks. Fractured bedrock is like the best. As well as bedrock that's kind of going perpendicular across the creek. So it's like acts for a spot for the gold to get trapped in. So what the sniping does, Desi, is you're using your hands in a light fanning motion. You kind of remove some of the bigger rocks and knock off some of the lighter material. And what that does is it leaves that gold as well as other things on the bottom of the creek. I actually found this. I wasn't sure what it was originally because I saw it when I was sniping. I just thought it was a chunk of lead. But if you look at it, it used to have probably a head right here, a little hand. It's got a little, so I'm not sure what this used to be for once upon a time, but I found that in the creek. One of the last things I found down there. Still in my stuff. But you do that, and you have that gold exposed, and then you can use called a snuffer bottle. To basically suck up. It's got a straw going through the, I don't know if you can see that or not. So it's got the straw going all the way through, so it sucks up through here, then drops it in there. Yes, what do you hand? So if you can see, it's like a bust. The head's gone. Sorry, landscapers over there doing some stuff. Head's gone, but definitely was a, I'm not sure what this was exactly. But it's like he's waving. But it is lead, has an iron threaded part down here. Like, I'm not sure, I have no idea what used to go on. Yes, I don't know what it used to be from. I find lots of random stuff in the creek bed. And that came out of the creek. Right down. Directly behind that green bush in the creek. So, yeah, your founder's badges there, everybody, yes. Sorry, just let him finish his thing over there, because I know he doesn't know what I'm doing. He just pulled up. Anyhow, so I can put some links in, more links in chat, but or in Discord, so you can see some videos if you're interested in that. Like I said, sniping is a very popular. I mean, it's nice in the summertime because it allows you to get there. It'd be cool, first of all, sometimes cold. and use that water to, when you fan it, the current takes away that lighter material. Like I said, gold with a specific gravity of 19. I think lead is about 11.35 if I recall, 11.35. See, all those heavier materials will be on the bottom when you do that. So it makes it a lot easier to do that. The old timers didn't have a way to get to the bottom of that unless they diverted the creek. So mountain streams can be freezing cold. Especially right now, this one's not so bad because it's, even though it does generate from snow runoff and springs, it's so far from where the snow is melting right now that it's had plenty of chance to warm up, and it's shallow. So, but some of the other creeks I wouldn't even get in right now without a wetsuit, because I actually wouldn't get in at all, period. A lot of the creeks are still just roaring, a little up higher elevation, but you can see that it's nothing. But this used to be all pretty deep in here, but the last year's floods filled everything in with rocks and gravel. I actually have a little sandbar. Let me do that. So there's a sandbar right here now that didn't used to be a little gravel bar, just like over there. But there's still some deep spots in here with some bedrock. The flooding exposed some new bedrock down here, as well as way up there. That tire is still over there. I never did get that out yet. I'm having my brother-in-law come help me. With the thing being full of water and the rim there, it's just so goddamn heavy. It's just not a easy way to get it out of there. But anyhow, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this little mini sluice up and hook the hose up to it, and we'll run some water through. I'll show you how this thing works. A couple things we're gonna do first, actually. So let me set you guys up for that. We'll start off cleaning this material, because I really don't know what's in there. It should have some gold in it, because in the testing test pans there was some gold in it. So typically, before you invest a lot of time working on something, you do a test pan, and that test pan is using a gold pan to let me flip this around, just because it'll be easier. Do a gold pan, do some sampling to try to find an area that has got some gold in it. You don't want to do a lot of work and there be nothing there, because gold's not everywhere. And so the test panning really helps out with that. Yep, exactly. And actually, I'm just noticing here, I think this might have been, I don't know if you can see it. Let me try this, see if it'll work. It's probably not going to focus, that's too close. Let me try this again. So in there, I don't think you're going to be able to see it. There is actually gold in there. I am not a 49ers fan. I'm actually not really into football, American football. But yeah, 49ers, that's exactly how they got their name, Kim. And good to see you, buddy. I do have a sluice, so that's the mini sluice, but I've actually got three. Actually, hang on one second. I'll be right back. So I've actually got a bunch of different sluice boxes. This one is Sorry, just reading chat real quick. A smaller one I use for backpacking, and so when I've got the little rings on here, I put those on with some rivets, as you can see there. But that way I can strap it onto my backpack. So how this works in general is let me get over in the shade a little better, get rid of the glare. Oh, Isaiah.
How's it going?
Good, man. You don't have to worry about anything back here today.
Okay, I figured so.
Yeah.
I was going to do some trimming today since
Okay.
they weren't going to bring too much.
Yeah. Is it possible you can, we're going to put a pool over there. Is it possible you can just mow that area over there by the truck?
Yeah, possible.
All right, thanks. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I've just been trying to kind of keep my time here. This place suits me. Eats up a bit of my time.
Oh yeah, it's a little big. All right, so let's kind of go here. So your material will come in here. You have this in here, it's like a little nugget trap. So what this is, if you can see that, it's raised material. Then you have these things here, which are called riffles. So these riffles, I don't know if you can see that very well. So what happens is the water comes over that. Water comes over this riffle, and it basically makes a little vortex, and each one. And so in the little vortex, when your material's flowing over, with your gold being so heavy, that gold just falls out. Riffles, R-I-F-F-L-E-S. Now on the bottom there's a carpet. This carpet, they'll call it miner's moss, because back in the original days they actually did use moss. That helps trap some of your smaller, finer gold. Looks like it's got some pine needles stuck in there from the hike back out last time. So like I said, this just goes, this thing all breaks apart. Real easy for cleanup. This is the smallest, well, I shouldn't say that. Actually, it's really tiny ones. This is the smallest of the metal ones I have. Like I said, very portable, small unit. And so well, this one's all been cleaned out already. I've cleaned out the carpet. Yeah, Huma, it's hard not to with living up here. But I've got another one here that's about 5 times that. So this one here is actually not very big. It's probably maybe 30 inches total. I think yeah, that's about 30 inches total, end to end roughly. But I've got one where just the box alone is, my biggest one, the box alone is 4 feet by 18 inches wide. This thing here, the top of that other one has a 2-foot flare and a lot thing right there, so it can go there. Yep, 2.5 fork feet. So I'm just roughing it with my flip-flop, just because my I do wear a size 12, but just gives me a rough idea how big it is. I use it a lot of times for that. So that's it. This is like the one I use for backpacking in, because it's really portable. I could strap it on. The other one's just too damn big, because and it's heavy, even though it's made of aluminum and stuff like that. But when the total length of the other one is about 5.5 feet end to end, which is like just a 4-foot sluice box and 18 inches wide. This one here is maybe 8 inches wide. The thing, like I said, so you put your material in there. What you typically like to do is classify it, and I'll go over that in a minute. But classifying it is basically you're taking that material, working it down smaller. One way to do that, I'll just cover that now. is, so you use these classifying screens, which I've got in the garage just a ton. So what you would do is you put, yeah, or where you can get close to with the vehicle, definitely. Sorry, fade. So you put your material in there, and with pouring water over it, you kind of work it, and then so your rocks that are bigger than that will stay here. I mean, it'd be nice to have a gold piece that big, but that's unlikely. Then your next size, and your next size. This is probably it's a number 70. Where's it at? 70. Yes, they would count. But like I said, I've got a whole bunch of these, depending on what I'm doing, because I mean, I've got stuff that goes down, some of the really small flour gold. It's called flour gold because it's literally like the grain of a flour, a ground flour, wheat flour. So I use that because you want to get it, that stuff's harder to extract, and but a lot of times that's what your bread and butter is when you're prospecting. So when you're gold vein, wherever that is, I mean, over time, through natural erosion, different things, rains, flooding, depending on where the vein is. So most of the time that gold is in quartz stringers. Let me see. So here's some just different quartz here. This is just a really milky quartz. It's got some mineralization. I don't know if you can see the sparkling in there, but that's just it's different minerals, not gold. Now there could be gold in this if I crushed it. What you're looking for, and I've used the term, someone asked me before, I think it was Woody before, and I said dirty quartz. So there's a spot right here which is very mineralized. And that's where your material is. So here's some, call this dirty quartz in here, where there's heavy mineralization. Then you have so then you can get some other quartz that's very, very clear. I don't know if you can see that, but you can kind of see through that. So you get on this point, these ones happen to actually be from Arkansas, but this is that is extremely clear. I mean, I can look through that. I'm looking at it, I can just see right through it. Everything. I know it's probably hard, it doesn't come out on camera that way, but these are a little few clearer quartz points. But the really clear stuff they use, very common. I'm just seeing if there's any plates in here. Here's another little good clear crystal. Yeah, this is quartz though. And you can see the red staining on there. That's from irons. And you can just soak that in like iron out, and it would clear, take that off. Okay, here's a decent clearer point. You can see right through that's like clear as ice. You can see my fingers through the back side. So that's what I'm talking about there. So quartz though is used commonly in optical quartz in different pieces of equipment. It was a very common material used for watch faces as a way to protect it. No problem, P4, thank you. I'll be streaming in an hour, half an hour. Just kind of started. And so, like I said, there's some spots, actually the mine near where I got that in Arkansas, they have one there too. They actually call it the World War II mine, or tunnel in one of the mine, different pockets they call it, but it's called the World War II pocket, but they used, they mined that right at World War II for optical grade quartz for instrument, things to go over different various instruments they used. Could be an aircraft, could be different things. So, but like I said, the heavy mineralized quartz. And I know I've got, well, somewhere I've got a big giant 5-gallon bucket full of heavy mineralized stuff that I want to crush down and clean up and just see if there's anything in it. But anyhow, so going back to what I was saying, so those quartz stringers, quartz veins run through rocks, stuff like that, came up from, potentially millions of years ago through volcanic activity, whatever, going up, cool. I'm not getting the whole geology of that stuff right now, but those little veins of quartz running through, like I said, typically quartz, but not always, gets weathered through natural erosion, just rain, winds, depending on where you are. It could even be wind, blowing sand and stuff like that, and just slowly working away the host rock, host mineral. And that gold comes out very crystalline, very crystalline in appearance. And what happens though is then through erosion and stuff like that, it works its way down into creek beds, into gullies. Ancient creek beds, river beds are very common thing to look for, or what you want to try to find, stuff that maybe wasn't hit. And that's some of the stuff that the prospectors, especially in the gold rush here in California that started in 1849, there's a lot of places. Actually, when I was down at Columbia State Park a few months ago, that stream there, that was all placer mining. So you have placer mining is you're looking for the gold that is loose, that is free already of its host rock, host mineral. When you're looking at the other type of mining would be hard rock mining. So you're actually going into the hard rock and you're trying to extract that. You got to crush the ore and extract that gold. And there's different ways to do that. But that's where you kind of get in there and you start following a vein, trying to chase that gold down. But what we said, this is all tied to placer gold here that I'm doing right now. So, but like I said, just a long kind of way there, but that worked its way down to the creek and goes from there. So let me set this up on a bucket. I don't think I'm going to use the small one. So just an empty bucket, and I'll use that one and this one. Oh, those are potatoes actually. Since you asked, we'll say real quick. It's all right, buddy. It's hard to tell. So you got basil, melons, zucchini, tomato, jalapeno, tomato, California poppy, tomato. I got a couple weeds that are popping up in here. Tomato, jalapeno. There's a little basil there. Some of the stuff just coming up. Real easy to, I just pull them out and just throw them on top to add to the organic material. Tomato. The pepper on the end is one of my favorite to eat. Those are called padrones, which are used in tapas in Spain. Little nice little green pepper, not real spicy at all, but has really great flavor. You kind of wilt it in a pan, a little bit of olive oil, and then I actually I have some Mediterranean sea salt I use. It's got, obviously a sea salt, but it's also got some Mediterranean herbs in there, and I just crack it in a little grinder over the top of it, just a little quick crack, and eat them. They're delicious. Basil, actually a different type of basil, these two. Tomato, another padrone. Yeah, tomatoes here. They've got blossoms on them. I think only one Well, these has a tomato on it at the moment. I don't know if you can see that with the sun, little small one. I couldn't plant except for a few weeks ago, start planting, because it's just, you can't plant too early here because it's, I mean, heck, not even less than a month and a half ago, a little over a month ago, I had snow here in the yard. You can ask all the questions you want, Kim. Okay, Woody, I'll do that. Any issues with animals? What do you mean exactly, Kim? So, I mean, I do have an issue. There's evidence of one issue with one animal right here. And we have, because they've been watered, they're kind of knocked down. But those are from stink holes. No, not typically yet. Not as far as any animals. Well, the worst ones actually are the chickens. If they get out, they'll destroy things. Roro, thank you very much. No worries. I appreciate you stopping by just to say hello. And if you guys, if one of the mods could do a shout out for the Real Eat My Pixie Dust, does some fun little crafting, stationary type streams, at least the ones I've been on. A lot of fun. It's actually very relaxing to sit in there and just watch her make some of the stuff she does. So, but go give her a follow. If one of you guys can give her a shout out, thank you. And a lot of you know her from other places too. So you've seen her hanging around in Mitch's streams and whatnot. But once in a while, you do have some of the, as far as animals, no, as far as this goes. But what I do have, your traditional pests will come in, different things. I use different organic things to keep the bugs off. I haven't done anything on here yet. You can see here on the basil, something's been chewing on that. I see that. But I have insecticidal soaps and different things. I also use like a sulfur type stuff, powder. I can dust them. And that really helps out a lot with the keeping the pests away. Like I said, these are just wood chips. This is actually like pet bedding. It's wood shavings. So the straw, I used to use straw, but what happens is I get a lot of weeds from the straw because they have seeds. And so you're constantly battling grass, little grass shoots. Now this stuff here, I do have a lot of little tiny weeds popping up out of this because of the top layer of compost I put in here. I got some compost bins over there, the two black things. But they help with weeds to a degree. But the biggest thing is they help with moisture retention. And I'm not gonna sit here and just pull weeds and all this stuff, but since the questions were asked, do that. Don't have any bees at the moment, but the bee box is right there. So, oh, there's a tomato down there, a little bit bigger tomato. Starting. No, these are, well, what's funny, Kim, he did not, but I actually did not build these. These were here when I got here, but I don't know if you can see, but they're tilting this way. So there's a big, and over time, and more has happened, it's actually sunk a little bit more. So I suspect what happened, or what the story is with that. You can see this big stump. I suspect the tree was here with the roots. The tree was probably growing in here at one point, somewhere in here. And they cut all that off below grade, etc. But like I said, I suspect what's happened is that the roots and the stump, whatever's underground, is actually rotted and deteriorated, and that's causing this to sink in this corner. Now that doesn't matter to me too much for this. I really don't care because I put the dirt in level regardless. So I don't know if you can see here, this goes higher up on the edge here. And down there it's a lot higher because I just level the dirt, the soil, and not worry too much about the boxes themselves. long-term goal here is to rip all this out. I want to bring a bunch of dirt in here after I kill off all the weeds, because this is just a weed lawn, nothing fancy. And put a nice big stone, plenty of stones, build a little bed around the big giant redwood tree out of where it's kind of crowning from the soil. Then I could fill that in, then kind of level this all out, and redo the garden beds. Millie, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Appreciate you stopping by. And then redo all the beds. Probably need to redo them anyways and relocate them at some point, because these giant trees are nice, but they need they create an issue with shade, and so I'm starting to lose out on sun, enough sunlight to get there. Oh, but this thing here is, I showed it before. This thing is, I don't think anybody has an idea how big this is. I've showed it before to hey Nim, thank you for stopping by. I mean, these two things are just massive. I have my daughter here, but I mean, I could stand there at the edge with my hands out, extended out to here, and she could do her things too. It still wouldn't be enough. This thing is just crazy. Rain, great to see you. Good to see you in a while. Good to see you. Stop by. Maybe we'll get back to what we were doing. Yeah, safe flights too, Nim. Safe flights. I hope that trip is good, very productive for you. So let me start this off. Now, if you're poking around and stuff, like I'm gonna be spreading over my hands and some of the stuff, trying to do that. Always wear gloves of some sort. These are just really simple ones. Just kind of help keep my hands from getting destroyed. Just like that. So what I'm gonna do, and I'll do this in the grass, just so I just make a mess. Put just run that material in here. So, well, those of you that have just joined recently here, what I'm doing is I'm cleaning up some concentrates. These are actually from a little trommel. It's not here to show you, but a trommel. So material goes in, you've got these little bars that actually classifying bars that help you take out some of the big rocks. This material then goes into a big rotating drum full of holes, millions of holes. And when it's spinning, there's water shooting on there. And so as it's moving, the bigger rocks are kicking out the end of this trommel. That smaller stuff is actually falling down into its 5 a.m. is early for you, yes. Hey Jeff. And so, yes, I'm a gold digger. And then the material then runs through a sluice box. So it's actually a very small setup. This other one, it's a little portable. But it's an area we did. This stuff actually came from out, those of you guys that have been around for a while, we did the stream out at our family ranch. This is where this material came from. And then I'm just gonna clean it up. I didn't do any cleanup on it at all yet, so like I said, so what I'm doing is just pouring it in here, and then I'll rinse all this off, because this stuff here, because you could have, all these things are covered in dirt. And if you see sparkles, no, that's not gold, that's probably mica, or other minerals. But it can stick to the rocks. So I'm just put this stuff in here. Normally I would just use the bucket and dump it in there, but since I'm using one hand to hold the camera and one hand to code I figured I would use. So as you can see, what's happening is it's classifying the material down into sizes. And that smaller stuff is going down the bucket, and that smaller stuff is what we're going to run through this little mini sluice and see what's in there. Because I know there's going to be gold in it, I just don't know how much. Could be just a tiny bit, could be a lot, but this was only a couple hours of running. I do want to note that there was some bigger stuff that was in the sluice box. It was already pulled out, extracted, because it was visible. And when you see visible gold, you grab it when you see it. So that stuff was already taken out of this. This will be just some of the smaller stuff. There could be some bigger stuff that got through the nugget trap before. When I say nugget trap, I don't want to, don't be thinking big giant nuggets, because that's not what you want. Here I am, I'm doing that. I'm not even using the one with my glove on. Smaller stuff here. Well, you say sifting, you mean the classifying? I don't mind it so much. You know? I mean, it's I don't know. In a way, it's kind of relaxing. There's very little effort. So I'll just set that aside for now. We'll deal with that in a minute. So we just have the material just kind of classified. We'll do that. Let me just set this out of the way that I was using for the example earlier. Yeah, a lot of my larger stuff is up at my mom's house because my brother and I do stuff together. Yeah, well, back in the old days too, they also used a lot of stuff that we wouldn't do now. So very common practice, they would line, yeah, ASMR, Jeff, I just saw that. But they would line these boards, some of these things with mercury, unfortunately. And so with the mercury, second that gold hits the mercury, it bonds and gets stick. And so they used to do that to extract the really, really fine flour gold. And unfortunately, you find a lot of mercury. Actually, I've got some gold covered mercury here, which I'll show you guys in a little bit. But they, like I said, they did that not only in some of the sluice box stuff when they were kind of doing some of the cleaning, but they also, that was really common actually hard rock mining after they ran the ore through a mill, stamp mill. This big thing just smashing the hell out of these rocks. Thanks for stopping by, Nim. I really appreciate you coming by, and travel safely. I hope you have a great time. So unfortunately, you find a lot of that mercury around increased. There's other things, but what a common method also was they used to use, which I've built one, is called a rocker box, and I don't have that here. That's at my mom's as well. But it's a little box, and I'll try to put some pictures in Discord. If one of the mods could just put notes in mod chat to just say sniping videos and rocker box, that way I don't forget, so I probably will. But a rocker box basically had curved bottoms to it, sitting on two, like a rocking horse would, two little curved stands. And they put the material in there and had a wooden handle, and you kind of went like this, rocked it back and forth, and you poured your own water on it using like a little ladle or something like that to wash the material, and your rocking motion kind of is what did to kind of get that out. Very crude, but man, oh man, is it effective. It actually works pretty darn good. You don't blow a lot of material out like you can in a sluice box. But sluice box is running in the creek. Like what I would do with the sluice box is I would take so I would put the sluice box probably over there and kind of. I just saw what you said, Woody. Hopefully it's not frozen. Hopefully that's better. Okay, yeah, I'm not sure what's going. Maybe I was too close to the fence. I'll let one of the mods take care of that. Thank you very much, Mr. Woody. And like I said, you don't want to blow your material out. You got to get just the right flow of water when you put that in there, so it just washes away that lighter material, but it's letting those heavies fall. Because you can run your water too, if you ever sluice box too steep, or if you got your flow too heavy, it's just going to blow your material right out of the sluice box. But you don't have that issue with the rocker box. Like I said, it's hard, it's a lot of work. Enjoy your lurk, buddy. And go from there. But like I said, I've got a bunch of sluice boxes. Another thing I do use, which I'm not going to get into the whole thing about there, but give me 1 second, Cam, and I'll get to that question. Is I do have a dredge, a gold dredge, so using water pressure, basically you have a nozzle, and it's like imagine a vacuum cleaner for the underwater. I do have that. California, I think the best way is to say this without it being turned into a political discussion. But what happened, it's been 5 or 6 years ago now, California made a law listing some people saying that dredging was causing pollution in the water. Well, that's since been kind of backed off. There's a lot of court battles going on. They're saying, hey, that you're making turbidity. Hey, you can ask all the questions you want, Kim. I'm happy to answer questions. I enjoy it, actually. But so when you're sucking that through and your stuff's going off the sluice box on the back end, your water, where it's clear up here, might be a little bit muddy off the back end, then it resettles. But what happens? No, it's all about turbidity. They said oh, that this affects the fish spawning, yada 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 yada, which that's actually now been proven false. A lot of scientists have said no, that's BS. So like when you're dredging underwater, and there's a couple ways to do it. I don't have a hookah system. A hookah system is where you have an air compressor on your dredge, and you can dive down with a hose and with a regulator and breathe off that. So I just use off snorkel because it's small. I have a smaller scale setup. But when you're dredging on the bottom, the fish are all around you, because when you're doing that, because you're kicking up insects, you're kicking up little things for them to eat, et cetera, and stuff like that. But they've also proven and it's actually healthier, because what's happened over time, especially on dammed rivers, is you get a lot of silt buildup, and which affects fish. Don't spawn in silt. Fish spawn in gravelly stuff. They want gravel. They want rocks, not silt. And so it's kind of been shown that the dredging actually cleans things up. So there's a way around it now in California, a couple years now. You call reclamation dredging. So reclamation dredging is not illegal, because the whole point of reclamation dredging is you're taking bear with me 1 second so I can show you guys. So reclamation dredging, you're basically saying, hey, I'm cleaning up, which all the gold dredgers I know have always done that anyways. So if you find lead in the creek, you pull it out, because your lead is, like I said, 11.35, I believe, or if I recall, is the specific gravity of lead. And gold being 19, so you're going to find a lot of lead when you're cleaning. And so you take that out. This is all little bits of lead I found just from panning down here in the creek. Just this little bit. I've got a big jar like that almonds or walnuts or something would come in the garage full of lead, you know, old bullets, shotgun stuff, just various things. And lead was used for a lot of things up until people started realizing how bad it was for you. So there's tons and tons and tons and tons of lead in there. There were lead, L-E-A-D. And so, like I said, they make bullets out of it, birdshot, and I don't worry about the gloves for the. So you can see a lot of that's birdshot. Yeah, no, specific gravity of 19.3 for gold, 11.35 for lead. And if I'm mistaken on one of those things, you guys can tell me. So what that means, specific gravity, when we're talking in this fashion, so like here's an old lead rivet. There's a little piece of lead wire in here. There's a bullet. Most of that's birdshot. There's some lead plating from who knows what that was. But you pull it out. You know, every time I find it, I pull it out because the whole point is to keep things clean. Yeah, lead dinnerware. That is actually a thing. Was a thing. And so you have that. Then you have the mercury. So the mercury. So this is all. This I will handle because it's not in a liquid form. So mercury, people know there was in thermometers and different things. So what this is all, with the exception of this piece here, which is a little piece of brass, which I'm not sure how I put that in there, but all that you see there, and you can kind of see here and here a little bit, but that's all actually gold. So that's been covered in mercury. It just bonds to it and then it turns into that. But you'll find little mercury beads in the creek all the time, unfortunately. So, but I do have, it's in the garage, but I have a whole little thing of liquid mercury in its liquid form in the garage that I've sucked up with a snuffer bottle. You know, I talked about the snuffer bottle a little bit ago. So let me just set this, you know, let me put this away because since this does have gold in it, I don't want to just leave this. If I actually knock it over, that's a decent amount of gold to lose. Hard to tell what, Huma? Sorry. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I can tell because I know what it is. And like I said, if I look at this piece, for example, you can still kind of see the yellowy gold through it. And same thing with this piece. But these, every little bit of that is gold covered mercury. Like I said, except for this one piece of, I'm not sure why I threw it in here. Oh, because there's actually a little bit of mercury on the brass. So I try to keep that separate. Yeah, but the thing is you have, the nice thing is you have the specific gravity. You have science to tell you what this is, just from basic elimination of some things, Huma. So because I know it acts the same way as gold, it has, I mean, just because it's got mercury on it doesn't make it lighter. So when I can have a little bit of water in this pan and swirl it around and the lead moves and the gold doesn't, that tells me something. There's a lot of things I could tell. And so what I have to do, Versus, how you doing, buddy? And if you guys want to, can give Bersus a shout out, great violinist friend of ours from Mexico. But what you have to do here, the safe way to do this, we use a retort to clean all this off. I actually have a different method I use outside. Those two science guys in here probably thank you very much for the birthday wishes. I have a burner I use. I set up outdoors in a cast iron pan, put all this material, it's got mercury in it, and I have a burner that actually blows into the heats up that material in the cast iron pan away from me. I'm not even near it. And like I said, do it all outside of the ventilated. You do not do this indoors. And I actually also use a fan. I have a box fan that I used to set up to help blow things away. And I just walk away. I walk away, come back to it later, and all that mercury is burnt off. Now, granted, I do not have a retort because that's why I do what I do. I wish I had one, but I do not. I don't have a piece of paper to put this away. So I'll deal with this later. It should be safe right there. Stick that up there and do that later. But, so like I said, that's what I do instead of burn off with the heat, high heat. JF and Chemrox are probably cringing right now, but like I said, it's not where I'm actually physically involved with it. So I've got a burner on a 4-foot nozzle, which I can turn on, and that's what I use to get that mercury off and clean it up. I would love to have a retort, but and then again, I don't know if it's even worth it for me because I don't have enough of it to do. Now all this lead, all the lead I save, and like I said, I do have a big old jar in there full of lead because I also find a metal detecting places where there's bullets, different things, you know. I always pick it up and take it with me whenever I go. But recycle it. You can, some of the recycle, you just take it to some of the recyclers and they will pay you money for it. Going to that. Now, going back to what you were asking earlier, Kim, the process, let me go back to make sure I have the question correctly. So the question was, do you know the logistics of what happened after the gold was discovered? What did the finders do with it? So obviously you have to extract it from whichever method you're using. And so if you're using placer mining, like I said, it's kind of the easiest because it's out of the it's already out of the host material. Most of the time you'll find something. Sometimes you'll find a little bit of specimen, and you call it a specimen. Some gold's killed in the host mineral, the host rock. And I actually have a little thing, little clear display jars, if you will, that you put them in with some black encapsulated just to save those specimen pieces. But what you do then is you can just take it to, you need to find a buyer. And I mean, you can either refine it yourself, because the gold up here is the gold that'll be in there in that bucket should be about 21 karat. There's a place I go that it's been tested. The gold there is 23 karat, so it's pretty darn pure. But what happens is you do burn it. You do take it somewhere, needs to refine it, and they'll get all those impurities out of it. And so I have not sold much gold in a while. Well, let me rephrase that. I have not sold gold in a while. I have a lot, but I'm saving it. So, but when I sold it before, I just found a buyer. And you're not going to like a pawn shop. You're not going to those kind of things. You need to actually find a legit place that's going to pay you a decent price. Because some of those places, they buy scrap gold and all stuff like that. Will they buy it? Yeah, but you're going to get piss poor prices. Well, Yeah, there's a whole process to that, JF, and as you know, I'm not going to get into that with you. I mean, obviously you're more equipped than I am, but it's a very common practice that people do with electronics. So they'll take circuit boards, do different things, soak them in various acids to extract the gold. There's a big process for that, and using retorts and a lot of different chemistry processes to get that cleaned off those old circuit boards and stuff. That's why they want your, some of these places will pay you for an old VCR, an old computer, any of your old electronics devices, because there's gold in most electronics that you have. I mean, it's minuscule amounts, but over time it adds up, if you have enough of it to process. So gold is a very, very good conductor of electricity, and so it is used in a lot of different things, electronics. But like I said, so you find a buyer, they refine it, and then it goes to market. I mean, that's the best way I can say that. Yeah, iPhones are supposed to have quite a decent amount of gold in them. That's correct too, man. But like I said, I've not tried to smelt my own stuff and clean it. My brother one of my brothers does have a little forge that we've used to do some other things. We've melted down and made copper bars and things like that. Actually, the lead, all this little lead stuff, I take to my other brother, and we melt it all down and actually pour it into bars. It's actually easier to sell that way to the recycler. It doesn't take us any time, but it's just a fun little thing to do. Pour it his little furnace, and then just go from there. It's fun. Anyhow, let's get back to kind of what we're doing here. And so what I'm going to do, why'd that go? Why'd that not? What's happening here? There we go. So give me a second. Let me get this set up. And once I'm set up, then I can answer some questions. Unlikely, Versus, unlikely to have any cake today. Just because I'm not big on sweets. No, it's... I am going out to dinner this evening, so we'll see if something there, but I mean, if I do, I might have something, but it's unlikely. Definitely probably not cake. I mean, there's only a couple cakes I actually really truly like. I'm not a big, don't get me wrong, I'll eat lemon bars. I don't want to say all day long, that's not true. I mean, I'll have a lemon bar. I like lemon bars, and there's some things I like, but I'm more of the spicy, savory type foods with occasional sweets. Yep, lemon bars. So let me set this up and we put this on so you guys can see what I'm doing for a second. Just bear with me. Let me turn that down a little bit. It's too much. And I'm not going to be able to see chat just for a second because I'm in the sun and it's hard to see the screen. But what I want to do is make sure that none of these, like this little clay ball, these are broken up. You can get in there. Or this rock. Material, because gold can stick to that, especially clay. Gold loves to stick to clay. that mess there. So let me turn off the hose for a second. And then we'll set up the little mini sluice. I need to use this. All right, so a little mess, we'll run that down with other material. So all I do, and let me set the phone up here so I can use both hands for a minute. Okay, and so what I did do is grab a spoon to help feed things. And give me 1 second and I don't know why, that's kind of odd. I just saw you got frozen. Let me pop this umbrella out real quick so I can have some shade. Give me a moment. Hey Boonster, thank you. Sorry, I'm kind of doing this. I'm not really watching chat for a second, so I'll catch up on chat in just a second. Just trying to crank up this umbrella. I do it one-handed, and I thought. All right, get you some shade. Let me just quick check of chat real quick, then I'll get started here. All right, let me get back here. All right, so, hey Andy, thank you. I'm just kind of going back reading through chat real quick on my phone. Bear with me 1 second here. Yeah, I apologize about all the noise or whatever. Kuso, thank you. Appreciate the birthday wishes. Hannah Casey, thank you very much, and thanks for stopping by. Yeah, Camrocks, it's easy to screw up on mobile, so I could see JF's hesitation for doing that. I know, Kuso. I have to use a spoon though. It's hard to scoop dirt with this fork. Hounded Soul, buddy, how you doing, man? Thank you very much for stopping by. What we're getting ready to do is start to. Yeah, compared to you, it is green, Kuso, but it is starting to die off. There. All right, so let me set this. Get this thing set up one more time because I did kick it. I will not raise $500 in gold. There's no way there's $500 in gold in that thing. Don't think so. California will put it at 40% on their own, knuckleheads. And they wonder why everybody's leaving. So I just use this little temporary portable stool that I'll use for this. Turn the water on. And I did. Okay, so now that's where the fun starts. Just California is ridiculous. I don't know why it's dropping like that. So like I said, there's a little valve here. Excuse my toes, but just creates a little gentle flow. And I have a pan there at the end that I'm using just to catch anything, just in case something does blow out. The California's out of control. It really is. So we'll start off with the dry material here first. You know what, I should have got it wet, but that's all right, it'll work. So I'm not worried about if any gold does come out of that, it'll stay in there regardless of whatever outflow comes out of there. And I'm not worried about, like I said, all I'm doing is giving my grass a bath. So what I'm doing here is just a little spoon, just kind of put it up in here. And what happens, just washes away material. I'll check on it a second here to see if I need to turn it a little bit more close based on what's happening in the box. So Kuso, what I'm doing is, so this bucket here is full of concentrates that I ran already through a trommel. Living in the gold country, I do a lot of prospecting is one of my #1 pastimes. And so what I did is I've already classified it off. Some of the other rocks, because the trommel would have got some of that out already. And there's a couple classifiers there, just trying to bring it down a little bit down. And so what I'm doing is going through those concentrates, running it through this little mini sluice to see if there's any gold in there. I think the flow is pretty good on this, so I'm okay with it. There'll be gold in here, I don't know how much. All the bigger gold I already pulled out in the whole trommel sluice box. But I was looking for something different to do today, because so it got being hot, I did not want to be out. My normal streams, I'm not walking around and showing something, but it's just too freaking hot for that. Supposed to be 106 today, it was already mid-90s. And I was like, you know what, having a backpack on and walking is like, it's not worth each stroke. So I was like, you know what, this is something simple to do, where I can do, got a little bit of water here, I got shade. I miss something in people, because using this app, Prism app that I'm using, it's definitely like Vegas type temps. Luckily, it's only for a couple days or so, but it's supposed to be hot, and it doesn't get that hot up here normally. So like I said, this is got it's like a little rubber mat. It's all in there. It's got little tiny grooves in it. At the very back end of that, there's like a think expanded metal but plastic, and it's just a little thing in here like that. This is the last little thing, a little trap. And you can see stuff's getting caught up in there, but that's a last little step to do for to keep the gold on washing out. So there's multiple. So I know you said you guys haven't seen this process before, but I have multiple things I use to clean gold up in quantities. So this I did just because I thought it'd be a little more exciting than the other two. So there's a process I have that's called, and I could actually take concentrates. So these are concentrates, and I'm concentrating even further in this method here. This will get a lot of the other stuff off, the lighter material off, and this will be more black sands and heavy minerals that gets trapped in this little sluice box. I do have two other things I use. One's called the gold cube. They're little boxes, there's four boxes that sit up there, and the water runs over the top, and they basically go like this until I get to the bottom, and each one's got little traps. But the fine gold, it's a really smooth surface, but the fine gold will stick to that surface. It's not like a smooth hard plastic. It's kind of a tacky, hard to explain, tacky plastic, but it really works good. And then from the other thing I have, it's called a blue bowl that actually sits over this, and it actually uses centrifugal motion of water. It would sit on this, you put the gold in there, and it's got a little, looks like a donut, if you will, and it's got a little thing in the top here, but the top part raises up. And so the water comes in and rinses off that black sand, and the gold actually works its way up in this thing, and then you have stuff that falls off into the bucket. But this I thought would be a little more interesting. And it'll take a little while to go through this, and we got a third of a bucket here, and I'm trying to do this with a spoon, so this will take a little bit of time, but we can talk and chat and stuff, and feel free to ask questions. I'm happy to do that. So, sir, I don't remember what state you were in. What state are you in? Are you Georgia? So what most people don't know is that almost all states, I think there's only two in the U.S. that aren't known for gold. But every state's got gold in some fashion. But there's some states that have a lot more than others. The Carolinas, North and South Carolina, Georgia, of course, Idaho. Yeah, definitely. And then that's right. Then you've got Montana, Wyoming, Idaho are also big gold states. Oregon as well. Like I said, all of them are, but some of them are known more than others. The state of Nevada is a huge mining state. And they mine for everything in the world there. Silver being the most common. So California, they say, is the golden state. Most people know from the gold rush, 1849, and bringing people west. Silver being the big one for Nevada, and it is actually called the Silver State. A lot of silver mines. I'm not sure how active they are anymore, but in Nevada. So one of my hobbies has been, for a long time, has been minerals, prospecting, stuff like that. It's more for fun. It's just living where I live in the California by the Load. Why not? And it's something I've done the whole time I lived up here. Do I get rich? No. Have I made it worthwhile? Sometimes. Sometimes you do a lot of work all day for absolutely nothing, but a few dollars. But it's not about, it's just something therapeutic to do. And anything you do when you're mining or pulling out a mineral such as or element such as gold that has value, you're actually creating wealth that never existed before as well. So you're introducing a value that didn't exist prior to you extracting it from the ground. But I've got a pretty large specimen, mineral specimen collection. So it's always intrigued me. No problem, Kim. Thank you for stopping by, buddy. I really appreciate you coming by and spend a little time with me here on my birthday. And today is actually the first day that I can think of in my career that I've taken off just for my birthday. I mean, I've been on trips during my birthday and stuff, and that's a little different, but normally I work. So if you guys have questions, I mean, feel free to ask me, because actually this will take a little while to be doing this. So I know this is probably not exactly exciting watching me put spoons of dirt into a soup box. So I haven't, millions really. So I was just thinking about this because maybe one of you guys would say, hey, can you see the gold in here? Sometimes you can, but what I expect is that a lot of this, because even though it was dry, all that shaking motion I was doing of that loose soil and gold being heavy is still going to work its way down to the bottom. I'm glad you're enjoying it, too, so. And so I would actually expect to not really see a lot, probably till I get close to the bottom, visibly in here. And I may not, it may be stuck underneath black sands and stuff that's here. This is definitely the way to be doing this stream today, because it's, I mean, I'm sweating just sitting here because it's hot and a little bit humid. But I'm under the shade of the umbrella. Got a few little sprinkles of the water on my feet, so it's kind of nice. Keep me cool. One thing I'm going to do is take a drink. Yeti. There's some just water in it. Yeah, Modelo would be nice. But when I'm not doing stuff like that, I don't like to drink when I'm not doing stuff like this. It's, obviously alcohol adds to dehydration. So and those that do drink, at festivals or different things outside. I'm sure tonight I will be doing some scotch. I was, thanks for stopping by, Desi. I'm actually looking that up right now. See your question about YouTube. And I would actually run it through Twitch Insights to see, but I'm guessing it is. But Wacko. Because they were blocked by the block word. But the what was the question? Are there any water restriction laws in California that make this process more difficult? Yeah, I figured if it was a legit thing, I mean, it's basically the keywords, and they were blocked, keywords that blocked, so I figured that they can always appeal it if it was not legit, but they've not been in my stream before, so. To answer your question, there's a lot of water restrictions, but not really in this aspect, too, so, I mean, hey, don't worry about it, Woody. What I was talking about earlier is that California's got a lot of, they listened to some people for some things that were kind of proven to be erroneous, as far as what dredging does and using mechanical devices in the rivers. Yeah, when I'm modding, I always have like Twitch Insights up on the bot list too, to kind of look and see. I was thinking about last night because when I was lurking in JMOs, I saw about 13 bots just off the top of my head that I knew there were bots there. But I was lurking and working, so I didn't want to start going crazy on that. I was trying to get things done from work so I can get out. So I'll have to look at that too and see. And then they basically outlawed dredging in California, but you can reclamation dredge, like when you're taking out lead and trash and things like that, legally, with some special paperwork, which I have. It's a way around it because while you're trying to pull out lead or whatever, which you can keep, so it's a thing. But there's not really a lot of water restrictions for that. But like I said, they did say that the dredging causes too much turbidity. So what you have there with the water, chocolate milk color there, you know, you got small soil particles in there, organic material. It's causing that to discolor temporarily. Of course, it will settle. But what the scientists that have gone to this, there's an organization called Public Lands for the People, and there's a couple other organizations that stand up for miners' rights. But there's a lot of stuff that's been going on in courts, Superior Court and Supreme Court of California, and Idaho actually has been affected by this a little bit too. Because they've tried to do some of this stupid stuff. I say stupid because the science isn't behind it. It's people anytime you use emotion or whatever, people just see that, oh, you're polluting the river. But what happens is, a lot of the damming of rivers and stuff like that, and pulling off rivers water for other needs, because there could be something that maybe not have a dam, but some water is getting siphoned off for reclamation districts, for human consumption or irrigation of farmland, whatever. And we've kind of impacted that natural balance, natural flow of the river, and so it's got a lot more silt. And so what's happened is what the dredging actually does, and you don't typically dredge large rivers, you're dredging small mountain rivers and things like that, creeks, is that actually improves, it's actually shown that it's improved fish spawning habitat, because the fish don't like to spawn on dirt, silt, they like to spawn on gravelly bottoms. And so what you're doing is, all the rivers have bedrock, and nothing gets past the bedrock. And so you kind of get in there, do all that. Like I said, even though you may clean it off right there, the soil, if a creek's moving, there's always stuff going. So you can clean something all the way down to bedrock, and you have the gravels down below that's come off the backside. But it's constantly, you can clean it. I mean, there's gravel off the bottom of that thing, and you come back in 2 weeks, and there's already gravel starting to accumulate on it. But like I said, you're pulling other things. When you're I think I saw a question about El Nino and stuff like that. All the reservoirs are full around here. I haven't looked to see. I was curious, Coosa, down your neck of the woods. I have not looked to see any reports on Lake Mead to see how that's doing, because I know it was in some really, really dire levels this last year. In La Nina, like I said, I'm not fully watching chat, but I'm kind of looking at chat. I saw that pop through there. P4, good to see you, buddy. It's interesting because depending on where things are. So basically, you've got El Nino, La Nina, doesn't really matter, same thing. So you have your upflow current, your upflow of moisture from the oceans, Pacific, comes up. And La Nina, or El Nino, it might be a shorter. I'm gonna call it a cycle length or wavelength here, if you will. So that you have that uplift moisture coming over, then it falls. Uplift and it falls. Uplift and falls. La Nina, it kind of goes long. It's a lot longer period before it falls. And so it really depends on what. Yeah, I'm sure it would come back a lot too. So I mean, it was so sneaking low. It's gonna take. I mean, it would take a long time to get that thing back up high. But La Nina is interesting because there's going to be some areas that will be heavier moisture and some areas that will be less moisture this coming year. And all signs are indicating it's going to be a La Nina year. I am concerned. So with work, a lot of you know that I work for electric utility. We have our own meteorologists, and we get a lot of reports. At least in my opinion, we get a lot of reports. I'm sure there's a lot more of the good people higher up that I don't even see, but on what predictions are. Because not only do we have this impact just for storm response, is there going to be heavy winds? I mean, rain in general doesn't cause outages per se, but obviously some of the bad storms come with winds, and those do cause outages. We won't know that. But we also run hydroelectric facilities, a lot of them. And so we want to know the water storage and things like that. But anyhow. So in the last briefing we had, it was talking about the high likelihood of La Nina forming. And one of the things I was looking at is like Brazil, for example. So Brazil is actually shown on the spot that says it's going to have excessive rain this year, more than normal. And that concerns me because those of you that know our friend Marcelo, my living room, and if you're not following Marcelo, my living room, incredible, just an amazing guy, a great pianist, and friend of many of us here. Give him a follow. But what I'm concerned about is, we don't have that one here, Woody, is with all the flooding they've had because, Marcelo's had some streams showing fundraising for the flooding. The whole state he's in Brazil, Rio Grande, I think Marcelo said it's 80% underwater, has been 80% underwater. Most of it's still underwater from all the flooding. So I'm concerned about increased rain in Brazil is not going to be good. And where he's at, so it doesn't matter where you are, because you could be somewhere and not have rain and still be impacted by flooding. Las Vegas is a good example of that because you have the hills all around Las Vegas, and I've been there before where it's, Kuso, maybe you've been there, since you've been there, maybe you've seen it. You get flash floods and stuff, and all of a sudden you're all of the concrete washes and stuff that run through Vegas. Next thing you know, you're looking, there's roaring like white water. But, water flows to the ocean, almost everywhere on Earth. And you could be 2,000 miles away having tons and tons of rain. If you're at the end of that river system, you're going to get flooding. We experienced it here last year on the San Joaquin River, the area around Tracy and Manteca, California. The San Joaquin River was having snow runoff, snow melt, what they call a runoff, caused excessive flooding, and we're hundreds of miles away from that river where that snow was melting. And it flooded a lot of stuff. I mean, most of it was agricultural land, because they know that happens, so there's no real houses there. And the few houses that are in that area are built way the hell up on berms. Yeah, and hurricane impacts, I'm kind of just glancing at chat here best I can. Hurricane impacts with flooding, it can be also devastating. And that's the thing about flooding. I mean, like I said, you don't have to be. People associate flooding with raining. You could be in an area where it's not raining at all. The deserts in the southwest of the United States are very notorious for flash floods from things that are hundreds of miles away, or 30, 40, 50 miles away, especially during monsoon season in the middle to late summer. You get the thunderstorms come through up in the hills, on the mountains, and all that water has to go somewhere. And it's a very interesting phenomenon. So I'm just going to use my phone, other phone, I'm just going to read chat text for a second. Yeah, I don't know the whole science behind that. Me too. I mean, I see your comment about being the Gulf, Florida. Yeah, I've got a good buddy of mine that lives in Houston, and he was impacted. When was that? About 5 years ago, I guess. I don't even remember which hurricane it was. It flooded. It caused all the massive flooding in Houston area. Harvey, yes. So he had damage to his home. He was in the Houston area. He's since moved. And that was a factor. My dad and my dad lives in Missouri. And so the three of my brothers couldn't get some water. Try to get some water. And so what was I saying? Spider. I don't know what I was saying about that. Oh, so my dad and brothers in Missouri, and they bought a summer house, or a vacation house, if you will, in Alabama. Take care, Boonster. Thank you, buddy. Take care, Woody. Get some good rest, man. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate you. And that was one of the big factors. They bought something way inland because hurricanes were a factor in that, but that way they can get to down the ocean. It's a beach time. My nieces and nephews and such. But they're in the Gulf Shores, Alabama. storm surge was a big thing in the factor and where they kind of got or bought, excuse me, their it's more of a condo type thing. Since they're not there all the time, they want somebody to be able to take care of the yard. But I have not been through a hurricane. I mean, I've had residual effects from hurricanes that have actually hit like Northern California. I can't remember what year it was, but we had a massive thunderstorm coming through. Hey, Anson, good to see you, buddy. Thunderstorms results the tail end of more of a tropical depression coming through, because once it does hurricane, it drops to tropical storm, then to a tropical depression. So when that tropical depression came through, that was about that might have been 2017 also, 2019, somewhere there. But anyhow, it's just an insane amount of lightning, and it came through in August. Started a lot of wildfires. No mods, but yeah, for a minute, but that doesn't mean that I can't push the buttons with my fingers. Yeah, there's a lot of I don't know. Let me try this again. So they're all tongue-tied there. I'm a little torn because I know you have to build. You know, population's always increasing and stuff, but a lot of the things we do, a lot of the flooding that we have in general, I mean, every time you pour concrete, lay concrete, or blacktop, and like that, those hard surfaces, those are areas where the water is doesn't even have a chance to get in the ground anymore. So you increase runoff, increase flooding. People build in stupid places, where it's flooded. Oh, it's a flood zone, 100-year flood zone, 1,000-year flood zone, whatever. And you wonder why they get flooded out. Not this year, but the year before last. That all those houses over there flooded. They're building Huma. Up here, they're still building a lot, but there's they regulated the hell out of it. And I mean, the median, I just saw the other day, now the median house price in California is $900,000 US. It's a lot of goddamn money. And they wonder why people can't afford to live here. Yeah, some of the area where I am too, because not where I am personally. So I'm up obviously in the hills. There's almost no building going on except for onesie-twosie stuff. But down the valley, flatlands below the California Delta area there's a lot of building going on in the Tracy area, Manteca, as well as the areas around Stockton, which is in the California Delta. I mean, an area that floods anyways, and there's levees everywhere and so forth. But it's just over the hill from the San Francisco Bay Area. So when you get the Bay Area, people are moving over here because it's more affordable. Let me go back and read. Obviously, I missed some things, those big things there. I could see that on YouTube. That would definitely drive things. We see a little bit of that Huma. We connect to a few of those and stuff, but most of the stuff we're doing is a lot of tract homes and a lot of subdivision, major, massive apartment complexes we're building, like 4-story apartment complexes with 10, 15 buildings or more. We're building a lot of those down the valley. Like I said, up here, you have a few custom houses because it's all a lot rural, more rural than the valley. Some of the areas down there now, like if you build a shopping center, let's say for example, or a business, let's say in the Stockton area, they're making you build ponding basins. So all your stormwater goes into your ponding basin there on that property. Just big ditches, big holes, like ponds, if you will, that are dry most of the year, but all your water runs off into that to help mitigate flooding, but also what a lot of this has impacts on too is it affects the aquifers, because that water is not getting a chance to go down like it used to, and so that helps recharge aquifers. Now, what a lot of people don't realize is you could have a rain, this massive rains, but for the water to actually percolate through the ground, through rocks, down to these aquifers, takes years and years and years. It's not like a real simple. Oh, you were creating something. I was like, what is that? Well, I think it was Command SSO or Command SO. We have that too. So, but yeah, thank you, Woody. Appreciate you creating that. We actually are making a little progress in the bucket here. It may not seem like it, but we've got substantial amount down. There's a lot of material here. This will take a while. And I do see gold in the box. I don't know if you can see that, but there's some gold flakes that are starting to appear there. See, check my flow. I might have turned it down too low. I turn it back on. I did. Anyhow, so we're going back. But yeah, flooding is a major. The more people build, the more it's going to have less time with flooding. Concrete jungle is not favorable to flooding. Creates a lot of urban flooding, especially around these big cities where they're taking up all the available real estate, and now it's concrete and asphalt. That's one thing about gold too, is just when it's underwater, it looks a lot bigger than it really is. Neighbors in this have a creek near there. Some of their kids are down there in the creek playing. It's a good day for it. Tomorrow is the last day of school for around here. Depending on where you are, they have minimum days. Half days here this week. But it's real important too. I mean, whenever you're feeding this, whether it's this little mini sluice, the little backpack sluice that I was showing there a little bit ago, or my bigger sluices that I have, sluice boxes, a slow feed is kind of important, because if you just want to dump everything in there, everything out. Next Tuesday, yeah. And then classifying is also important, because what happens is rocks disturb the flow of water, so you can actually blow gold out if you're not classifying correctly, because it's those rocks are affecting the flow of the water. Yeah, there's a lot of that building going on in Vegas, man. It's been like that for a long time. And even in the Reno area, outskirts of Reno, Nevada, which is closest to me, about 2 hours, 15 minutes, 2.5 hours, depending on traffic. A lot of construction on the outskirts of town, into Sparks. Yes, very fancy. Hello, Boop. How you doing? I am cleaning up some material I have here that I had mined that have been sitting around for a while. I wanted to clean up. This is concentrates from that I ran through a trommel. From the family ranch. I don't think I'll have enough. I don't know if there'll be enough gold out of this to buy a beer. We'll see. I mean, I'd like to say yes, but we'll see. There's some of those pebbles in there, the small pebbles. I was just kind of knocking those down a little bit farther. That way the gold has a chance to settle in before it gets down there to them. And Versus, I don't know if you know, but Boop is also a violin player. Boop is also the artist that gave us the Lemon Bar emote. And in Discord, the fork emote called Matako. Not on here because it's too... To make it as a emote on Twitch, it's kind of a little small. You lose all the wonderful details she put in there, the smiley face and everything. Yeah, I still need to do that. I haven't done that because the last few months, and that's impacted my streaming and everything. It's just been so stinking busy with work and everything like that. And what's hurt me this spring is because for months it was raining only on the weekends. It wouldn't rain at all during the week, and rain on the weekends, so I didn't stream. But what that also was doing was impacting my ability to stay up on the yard and get things done. And so I've been spending a lot of time recently just trying to work on getting some projects done here. Weeding the creek. We're working on the pollinator garden in the front, which I was working on the drip system similar yesterday, which is almost done. Now I just got to start putting the bark in there, make a few tweaks, and that'll be done. I've been ripping out invasive English ivy that's, I don't even know where it came from, that's just taken over everywhere. Some areas. So I've just been really behind, having a chance to really do much streaming. But it's crazy how that weather, I mean, obviously had a direct impact on me streaming then, but it had an impact afterwards because, you know, a lot of times I leave work so early in the morning. I mean, now it's light when I go to work, but when you leave your house at 5 in the morning, 5 to 6 in the morning, somewhere between 5 and 6, depending on what I'm doing that day, and not getting home until On a really, really good day, it would be 4 o'clock. Most of the time, it's like 6 or 7. Just don't have a lot of time to do things during the week. So I got really behind with outside projects. Yeah, no joke. There's truth to that. People washing their cars, drives the rain. And hopefully you guys have a good monsoon season this summer to get a little bit of moisture down there and some rain. Thunderstorms. Help wash dust off everything. And rain is always great for a good cleansing. Take another drink of water here. So I was ripping, yeah, I should hear this week, Kuso, on that. They said the week of the 10th, they're supposed to announce who was successful in that position, and hopefully me. You just never know who other candidates are. Yeah, blackberry bushes are a pain to get rid of. So is English ivy. I've been ripping it out by the roots best I can. Puma. And what I'll do is now is the flower bed I did last weekend where it came in and took over, or started to take over. I'll just watch it now, and anytime I see it, something popping up, I'll just pull it out. But the blackberries, there's a bunch of blackberries over there, and then on the other side of that tree behind the, you kind of see the shed, this barn over here. Behind that, there's just a massive amount of blackberries. So I need to get in there, weed all those down. I'll do that after harvest, and then I'll need this. I got some spray I'll have to use because it is hard to get rid of, and it's just such an invasive. No worry, Atson. Thank you for stopping by. So we're just cleaning up some gold concentrates I have. See what's in them. So you can see here all the soil, gravel, everything that's running out of the sluice box, just running out of there, catching that gold pine. Yeah, I'll probably tarp it. When you say tarp, at first is I'll tarp it. You just lay a big tarp down and weight it down with, rocks, wood, whatever, and what that does, the tarp generates heat and helps burn off underneath weeds, even blackberries, and you just pull that off. Just you let it sit there for a while. But if I can get that weed eated here this summer, because rainy season here won't start again until somewhere between up here in the mountains. First rains will probably be thunderstorms again. We'll have thunderstorms in September, but once in a while the rains actually start in September, but usually it's October, definitely November. So now I got a long ways to go before the real true rainy season again. And so plenty of time to fill it out. The mulching, I've had problems with the mulching, Puma and the blackberries. They just still can pop through unless you need to have a really, really, really thick layer of mulch. And where it is behind the barn over there, it's almost impossible. You can't get a wheelbarrow back there. Because you're walking, I have to walk over a little tiny, I've got about maybe a 1.5 foot wide spot between the barn and a creek that's tunneled under the ground that comes out and hits the major creek. You can't get a wheelbarrow in there. It'll be hard to get mulch if you have to do like 5-gallon buckets at a time. I'm not willing to do that. But if I can get rid of it, the majority of it, oh yeah, that's a good idea. What would be nice to get would be perfect for tarping these things. Get some old billboard vinyl. But I know some dark, so I want the dark to absorb the heat to help burn off the weeds and the blackberries underneath. And that helps also improve your soil structure to add more organics to your soil. There's still a little ways to go on this, but there's a lot of progress. But I see there's a lot of companies online that are selling their billboard vinyl. Yeah, shipping would be one thing, but I would suspect that somewhere, if I drive down to Sacramento or something like that, there's got to be a company that I'm sure is doing something that just go pick it up somewhere. Have to leave the mountain once in a while to pick things up. And once I get all this cleaned up, what I will do is work on, we'll pan it all out, all the material out. See what we got. That's good to know, Edson. Yeah, I was debated. I mean, I know Frank yesterday said he was going to stream today. When he came on, I was like, oh, I kind of pushed it off a little bit because I was going to stream earlier than Frank went on. But if you don't let me give it some time, and I was like, I finally said, you know what? I just have to. Yeah, it is. It reminds me of like almost like a vacuuming sound on the roof. But even when this is not going, you can hear those. There's a waterfall, a small waterfall right over there in the creek. You can always hear that. Hey, Mikey. The nice thing is now the frogs are just insane here in the evening right now. So I've been sitting out when I can and just have a little pour of bourbon or scotch or something and just sit out here and listen to the frogs and watch the sunset that way. We're getting some nice colors the last couple of days to go with some clouds. I don't think there's a cloud in the sky today, but it was nice. No problem, P4. Thank you for stopping by, man. I appreciate you hanging out. That's funny, Homer. I do see him in the chat once in a while. I mean, not active in chat. I should see him as a viewer in a lot of streams. I never out him or anything like that. So I'm sure he's likes his peace. A lot of times, like me, I mean, I frequently lurk in streams, especially during when I'm working. Have things going just to listen, background music. No doubt, Kuso. That was kind of a fun hype train reward, if you will. Thanks for the bits, Gravy. Nice to see you. Thank you for the birthday wishes. So what I'm doing, those of you that are just joined, this bucket was a lot fuller than that now, but these are some concentrates I have from some mining that I've done, or prospecting I should say, and I want to clean them up. They've been sitting around in the bucket forever. What's interesting is I had a lid on the bucket, just a simple lid, but the soil still has a tiny bit of moisture in there from, well, I went in there fairly damp to start with, but there's still moisture in the soil and it's not all just dry. You can see it's dark from the moisture. But this was quite a while ago I did this work. I have some other stuff here we'll clean up too. I'll kind of combine it to clean it up as a bigger piece of gravel hanging out there at the top of the sluice, so I'm going to get rid of that. So like I said, the whole premise behind how this works was you just join. So gold has a specific gravity of 19.3, and what that means is the same amount. So if you take a piece of gold, whatever it is, let's say you have a piece of gold the size of this spoon that I'm using to feed, it might be later than that, Kuso, up here. So if you have the same spoon, so it would take the same amount of water, 19.3 times the amount of water as the volume of the spoon, basically, would have the same weight. I think it's later than that. It's probably at 830. Yeah, come through 10 cow chicken with it. Yeah, so it's hard to scoop dirt with a fork. Little tiny pebbles, I'm just going to knock them down towards the back of the sluice so they don't impact, create turbulence in there and make gold wash out. Yeah, but the spoon works better because the spoon also helps you get in the corners. So actually I use this, I pulled this spoon out of my prospecting backpack, which is, I don't know where I put it, but it's good for digging out little crevices and stuff like that. You can get in there and put your stuff in a gold pan. I don't know the exact time though, Kuso, but I mean, I was out here, I mean, I can still see it at 9 o'clock. So, but I am also a lot farther north than you as well. So in the summertime, that has its advantages. So I'm curious to see how much ends up being in this, all this. May not be much. We shall see. Like I said, I already pulled out bigger pieces that were in the sluice box to the trommel. Or in the nugget trap that were in the sluice box to the trommel. Coming out the trommel. Like I said, I'll be putting some pictures. We were talking earlier at the beginning of the stream about sniping. We also talked about a rocker box. I'll put some stuff in the Discord for that later, for examples. There's a couple of great YouTubers that do sniping that make some great videos. One's actually up in British Columbia, Canada, and the other one's in Tasmania. I wish I could go to bed earlier than I do, but I have a hard time going to bed. I have almost an impossible time of sleeping when it's daylight, if there's any light at all. Blackout curtains doesn't matter. It's just a psychological thing. Sun's up, there's things to do. So I don't get exactly plenty of discussion in the French Discord about that, but I don't get a lot of sleep. I just glanced down. That he's a KFC. I see this is KPC. I'm gonna take this a second, stand up and stretch. Being bent over like that is sit in a real chair for a second. And we'll hydrate. Yeah, so I'm sitting on that little chair, then bent over like that. The back's a little sore. For those of you just joined, I'll show this again. So this is a little backpack sluice. Oh, that's nice to know, Edson. So this little backpack sluice I use when I hike in somewhere to prospect. Like say your material, let me tilt it up here. So your material comes in here. This little area here is called the nugget trap. Your bigger stuff will sit there. You have these riffles. And so when the water's flowing over those, it basically creates a little vortex and your heavier material will drop out. And so you get a lot of stuff behind these riffles and goes all the way down. Like I said, this is just a really small one. Oh, I think it's beyond that, Uma. I've been that way for my whole life. On a good day, it's not that I wake up tired or anything like that, but 5 hours I usually wake up and I'm wide awake and going. I'm just always, my chemistry in my body clock has just been goofy for years. I do too, Huma, so like all that stuff in that gold pan, I won't do it today. When I say gold pan, that's coming out the bottom of this sluice. I will save that. I'm gonna add to another bucket I have over here. And then another day I'm gonna run that through, probably the gold cube, and just run it, because you'll find a few little tiny pieces that have blown out or whatever like that, but I save it to like quite a big volume of it to make it worthwhile. Because you pull out a little bit of stuff, but it's just not typically worth it. And so I'll, oops, that's not what I meant to do. Yep, there we go. And so like I said earlier, this is a bunch of this lead shot and stuff I pulled out, panning, and sniping from the creek that's back here. Yeah, sunset and dark is two different things. I mean, it's a lot, and terrain will have impacts on that too. I think the mountains to your west are probably far enough away that it shouldn't make a big impact, but maybe probably a little bit. But the closer you are to a mountain, obviously it'll shade you quicker. Like I say, this time of year, the sun's setting off this direction. So when you're prospecting, Huma, the bread and butter. So you're not always finding big nuggets and stuff like that. That's, I mean, or the stuff you could pick out of the pan or the sluice box, they're called pickers, which could be like, some people might call them small nuggets, but I don't. I just call them pickers. But nuggets are a little bigger. But your small stuff, that's the size of like a grain of flour, like white wheat, ground wheat flour. That you bake with, that flour gold, that really adds up over time, even though it's small, but there's a lot of it. Because and I was talking about this earlier, and I think I was starting to, and I never finished it. So when your stuff, as you have a lot of erosion and all that movement of gold down from the original vein, little pieces of it are getting ground off as it's going through a creek bed and through erosion. And so you'll have all those different things. It starts off crystalline in its host rocks, host material. That's crazy, Edson. And then you'll have that crystalline that starts getting smashed. So you might find a nice rounded off nugget when you're looking at Your placer gold, you'll be all, like I said, real smooth. Placer means it's been moved from its host material. And then, like I said, you'll find all different size flakes, stuff with thickness, your pickers. But you'll have flour gold, real tiny stuff. And that's a lot of pain in the ass to get out of. Fourth grade field trip. Yeah, a lot of the classes do things like that. And there's a lot of places that do panning and stuff like that. I don't know if they still do out at Barstow, out in the desert. They used to do stuff like that out there. But there is gold, you know, in some of the places down there, in the desert especially. There's lots of places that you can, I know it sounds funny, but, and the way you prospect in the desert's a little different too, but, you know, you can use a dry washer using air and stuff like that for your bellows to kind of get your material off. I don't, so if people do redeems, you have to tell me, because I don't see them on this app. It doesn't show me those things like that, but I did a little bit ago, but I will right now. There, definitely hydrate so you can mark it complete. Let me get back at this. Huh. Thanks, Perseus. Yeah, the whole. I mean, obviously, I'm a fan of octopus, but so the resorts, stuff like that, different. That octopus is actually holding a lollipop that looks like a crab. Another one with the lollipop. Turtle. Spoon and get back at it. So that break was actually good because that had a chance to run out some of the lighter material kind of run out. I'm seeing a lot more gold sitting up the front of the sluice box now. Gravy, was that in Southern California where you did that? I know you're down there in that area now. I don't know where you grew up, but yeah, you remember where you were when you did the panning in your fourth grade field trip? When I'm scuba diving, versus octopus are my favorite thing to see. I just love them to death. I do plan on getting one of these days I'll find the right artist, but my whole left shoulder, I do want to get a nice big octopus coming down onto my bicep area and stuff on my left shoulder. I have a kind of a bluer color, kind of like the traditional Caribbean octopus colors, which is actually there's an emote. Probably Coloma, maybe the state park or something like that. California Gold Discovery Site, maybe. Which is not too far north of me. But yeah, but see that octopus that you have there, Versus, that Hook took a picture I made. I took that photo. That's actually a Caribbean reef octopus that I took in Honduras, Roatan, Honduras, and took that photo and kind of cleaned it up. And we made it transparent. To use as an emote. But I took that photo. I was on a night dive. Yeah, that's on my left, the left side. You know, we talked about that. You know, it's just a matter of finding the right artist. Just like you traveled for yours to Texas. You know, I don't know where I'll have to be to get for mine. I mean, the only tattoos I have right now are, I do have some petroglyph tack turtles. So the Polynesian petroglyph. I do have that in some symbolizing tattoos for ocean. On my right side, I do want to get a Polynesian style manta ray on my back. I have Doga manta rays, and they're just majestic, massive creatures. A fully grown, true pelagic manta ray. They get about 24 feet across, 22 feet tip to tip. And then the ones I dove with in Hawaii, they were probably 14 feet, 12 to 14 feet tip to tip. That species of manta. But there was, on my YouTube channel, I've got a small video I put together with that, with some of the stuff I did. And I do have two YouTube channels where I was talking about that. So I've got one for VODs. All the VODs go up on the YouTube, as well as another one I have. It's got some other little things. It says a few videos right now of some things I took diving. What's scary, Huma? The size of a manta ray? Like I say, manta rays don't have teeth, they're filter feeders. Yeah, then and also in my Discord, there's a link tree to both those. But like I said, on the YouTube, I've got one of the manta rays and some other stuff I saw while I was underwater. Not a lot. I've got so much video I need to actually process and do. Time is just one thing I don't have a lot of. But I've got a lot of video, a lot of footage I've taken that I would love to get cleaned up and uploaded. So there's a challenge too with underwater footage, because you're losing colors the deeper you go. So even though you're using lights and some filters and stuff when you're diving in the camera equipment, it still doesn't always come out, like to say, perfect. So I run it through, do some editing in Adobe Lightroom, and you can clean up a lot of that stuff, because otherwise your pictures are pretty blue, really greenish, because you lose that red color as you're first to go. And so you got to kind of clean things up, making them look natural again. So it's like a double editing. So you have to not only clean it up, then you got to take from there, then you edit out the video the way you want it. You know, make your clips, add music, whatever you want to do. So the one on the YouTube is a good idea for the manta ray night dive I did, which was a blast. I am going back to Hawaii, Big Island, Hawaii, at the end of this month. Going over, I think about the 8th of July, maybe. I don't recall. But I'm gonna try to do some diving in on there as well. I don't know if I'll do the night dive with manas again. So we'll be able to see some other things. I don't know. And then, of course, I'll just be adding the footage of other stuff. But I've got tons of footage of octopus, sharks, manas, all kinds of fish, lobsters, crabs, jellyfish, you name it. I got a lot of it. All said in total, between photos and diving footage, I mean, I've been on several hundred dives, somewhere in the 200 range, but I've probably got in the triple digit as far as total combined hours of video and equivalent of photos. And I do get if I get this new position, it'll free up some of my time at work, which would be nice. But what I'm going to do too is getting myself set up to stream inside, so weather is not a factor. And I do want to show some of that. I can show some of that footage on the stream. We talk about some travel stuff and even look at travel photos and whatnot. Getting close to the end of the bucket here, so we're making progress. So we're getting there finally. come from? It came from the, well, these are the concentrates from the trauma operation I did. The trauma. And the sluice operation out of the family ranch. Where those gold mines, those of you. I know you were there that day, Guma, because you were the one that recommended prison on that day, but at that property I was at, I even showed the old gold mine that was kind of collapsed. But that stream was on the family property, which is near here in the California Meadow Lode, and on the 480-acre ranch, there's quite a few places to be prospected. So, but I've had this sitting around for a while. I actually have a lot of stuff to try to clean up today. I'll clean that up in a minute. So here, so this is the stuff from when I was classifying. So I rinsed off those rocks that are over in those things. This is that material here. So that's far from over. Mercies. So I'm going to run this material real quick just in the bottom of that, in this slurry. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to do something different with that. I'll just pan that out. So I'm going to let this run just for a minute to clean up, and then we'll do some then we'll use this tub as a panning tub, and we'll just pan some things out real quick just to see what's what. So I won't pan this because I can obviously see there's no gold in that. I'll just double check this, but it shouldn't be. I would not think there'd be any gold. Mica in that one. I don't know if you can see the flash of the mica. Fool's gold. So if there was gold there, I'd be able to see that. It just has no gold in it. But I will save, I do like to save just mineral specimens, so I'll probably just save that just to save it. And what I'll do is, let me go see if I have another gold pan. I didn't see one offhand, so I know I've got more somewhere. I just don't know where they would be offhand. So I'll make do with what I got here. So let me think about how I'll do this best way. Okay, so that's cleaned up a lot. Let me go ahead and turn this water off for a minute. So that's some old stuff that Homa we were talking about earlier about rerunning stuff through. This is some old stuff that I will run again at some point. There would have been the tailings, if you will, from other sluice box type operations. Hard to focus because it's so close, but you can see that's exactly what it looks like there. So this is just lighter material. That's a lot of gold flakes in here. Not rich by any stretch of the imagination. So let me do this. Let me disconnect this hose off of this. I'm gonna get the water filling in there. I'm gonna dump that into the other bucket. No worries, Kuso. Drive safely, buddy. And then we'll start doing some cleanups and really get down to the nitty gritty and see what we really got. So I'm gonna set you down for a minute and look at that for a moment. Actually, so I'm gonna be moving that. So let's look at something else. Let's just look at the yard or something. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take, while that's filling, but real quick, I'm gonna just rinse this out. This is all that excess. We'll clean that up another day. Get a little bit of water in here. Then we'll start doing some cleanups. See what we got. I'll just dump those later. I'll go dump them over the fence by the creek. Massive nugget wouldn't show in here. I don't have any massive nuggets. Do I have nuggets? Yes, I don't have any massive nuggets though. So I didn't get any massive nuggets. Once I clear out one or two of these gold pans, then we'll show you some things I got. So this was in the shed and it's been there all winter, so this is just a standard masonry tub. Just gonna get rid of some of that organic material. Got in there and dust. Thank you, Sniper. Appreciate it, buddy. We're just doing a little gold cleanup here. Some of the stuff I have, concentrates and such. Try to get them all cleaned up. Looking. Oh, that's my other gold pans right there. Yes, I've got gold pans everywhere because depending on what you're doing, you can have a lot of things going on where you might need several of them to do different things. Especially when I'm cleaning out stuff from the mercury and stuff like that. I have all that stuff to try to keep that going, so I'm not getting it all mixed in together, and so forth. So I do have another one to use. So now, let me do this. So like I said, in this bucket, this is the stuff that from when I was classifying, that rinsed off the rocks when I was classifying. And I'm just gonna pan that out rather than running it through there. I'm not worried about anything falling out, with this, because all that gold will be down, it's like I was explaining earlier, it's specific gravity of 19.3. Thank you, Sniper. I appreciate you stopping by, man, just to say hello. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you so much. So I'm gonna do, you can dry pan, but it's works 1,000 times better when you got wet. So what you kind of do is you want to have see how this material is kind of locked together. You don't want that. So you kind of get in here, got to get it really loose into like a slurry. So what that's doing is also, I have a kind of an angle, you can't see it, but what's happening is I'm trying to get so you have the pan structure here. So as an angle, what I'm trying to do is basically get all that material down into like a corner down here. That's the whole premise of what I'm doing here with this thing here. Like as soon as you stop moving it, it locks up. So you gotta kind of keep it into a slurry. And like I said, being basically the heaviest thing in the river, in the water, that's working its way down to that bottom. And that lighter material, this here, starts getting a little stuff going here that we're just basically washing it out. That lighter material is going to slowly wash off. Let me turn off the hose. I didn't realize I was full already, overflowing. I don't need to waste any more water than I've wasted. Although it did go in the grass, so I'm not calling that a full waste. So what'll happen as we get going on this here, let's just keep working it down. So what you'll see, what I didn't explain, so you'll see in here, there's little ripples in the pan. So these we can attribute to the Chinese. So what the Chinese did is they used to take the old steel pans and they actually banged in made their own little riffles in there. Spots to basically create turbulence to help capture more gold, especially the fine gold. So we have Chinese miners in California to thank for that. So there's many different styles of pans, all basically the same thing. There's a Padea pan, which is basically a large, traditional, just a big giant metal dome dish with a little divot in the bottom. And you know, they use real common in South America and Asia. It's basically kind of just a swirling motion and keeping that thing going. But the thing is, they're really, really big. And that slowly works all that material, all that gold, that heavies into the center of that. And I don't know if there's gonna be any gold in this thing here. This is just that stuff I rinsed off. But I wanted to run it just in case, but also give a little quick demonstration of panning real quick. So I don't know if you can see what's happening. Some of that lighter material is coming off the front, and the heavier stuff is staying in the back. So it's real gentle. You're not pouring anything out. You're just letting the water do the work back and forth, and it's taking that lighter material and slowly just washing it off. And what's happening is you'll be slowly left with all your heavies. What I'm going to do here too, is I don't expect much since this is just the mud off the rocks that I was classifying, is I'm going to just kind of get away from the riffles there, just kind of like this, so I can get a little more material there. So that you can see how the material, you have your heavy material here on the right side, and that lighter material is kind of washing off the left, off the edge of the pan. Just a gentle motion. And just keep redoing that until we kind of stratify it here. Just lightly rinse that material off. Like I said, just a real gentle motion is all I'm using here. And what you can start to see is a bunch of heavies, the black sands, which are your iron sands, silky iron, essentially, starting to end up there in the back of that pan. And that lighter material, that blonde sand, if you will, is just kind of washing off. There is different things there's a lot of different things on the market, Homa, for cleaning up gold. There is something exactly what you're saying. I can't remember the name of it. I want to say it's a gold, they call it Gold Trap. That's how it's marketed, I think. It's not cheap. But everybody's always looking for the next better mousetrap, if you will. So, okay, so what I'm basically left with here, I don't know if you saw that, but so I'm just gonna redo it real quickly here. Just give it a light wash back. Let's take that lighter stuff off. And so you see that black sand. Like I said, I don't expect to see anything in here. There could be some small flour gold, but I really don't, I'd be surprised if there is. But, yep, I do see one little piece already. So there is. Let me redo it here. It's very, very, very tiny. Probably never see it on camera without a macro lens, which I don't have. So let me just kind of change in the way this is laying out in here, and then I'll fan it. So there's a very, 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 very tiny, 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 tiny piece there. Like I said, it's about the size of imagine white flour, like if you're gonna bake with. I mean, so that was stuck to the rocks. So what I'm gonna do with this, rather than screw around with this, kind of clean that out, I'm just gonna dump this in this other bucket, deal with that another day. I'm gonna do the other stuff. I did want to, so I saw this pan laying in there and I was trying to figure out what it was from. I couldn't remember, but I did see some specks of gold in it, but I'm just going to get it wet so I can start letting that material loosen up. But What you can have, when it's funny too, because you can actually have surface tension of the water can actually make gold float too. So what a common thing to do when you're working with a lot of especially fine flour gold is if you could put like finish, you know, like the dishwashing stuff, helps break that surface tension of the water. I don't know what's in this, it's just got dirt in it. Or what, 'cause a lot of times I take multiple pans out with me and stuff just happens to get dirty, and I never assume and just dump something in case there's something in there. It's organic material out of here. Well, I'm gonna get that and I'm just gonna kind of wash that and just see what's in that too. So let me actually use my hands here for a second. Let's take a look and see. Like I said, this might just be just dirt. There might actually be something in there. I don't know. Let's get rid of some of that water because there's too much in there. Let me just see what's. Oh, so there actually is gold in here. Ah, I see what it is. So I don't know if you can see that or not. Probably not because they're all small pieces. But there's also. Well, maybe it's not. I thought maybe there was some mercury in there, but I don't see it. It's just a trick. Let me use my other hand here. Try to get this where you guys can see it. So I'll try to bunch it up a little more, but I don't know if you can see that or not. But there is a little bit of gold in there. So I'm just going to set that aside. What's love is trapped in that black sand. And we'll just take this pan that was soaking. I'm going to rinse that with my hands again. Okay, so that has no gold in it. It's just dust and stuff like that. So that's good to know. So now what we'll do. I'm actually going to soak this other one too. I got a few of them here sitting here. I'm not sure what's in them. One of these I think had some mercury gold in it, and I had it separate. So I was starting to work on this last fall, and then the rain started coming, and I never got a chance to finish cleaning everything up. But yes, I'm weird. I got pans of gold just laying around. All right, let me put this down and use my other hand again. See if there's anything in there or not. Okay, so this is the one that's got the, so I don't know if you can see that or not, but you can see the silvery gray in there. Yeah, that would be nice to get the chickens out, but this is the one that's got the mercury mixed in with it. That's why it's separate. So there's gold in there, as well as mercury covered gold. So that's why this one's separate. So now I know what that's for. I was thinking I had one. Just wasn't sure. And I don't think there's anything in this. I think this was just that lead piece that I had found. Let's rinse out this organic stuff. Oh yeah, these were just some rocks they were just interesting that I just kept here. This one has got a quartz vein right here on the end of it going through it. This one is just some quartz, which was kind of cool looking, but it's got some mineralization in it. So this one I'll end up putting in my other pile to crush. See if there's anything in it. And this was just, I just want to identify what this mineral was in this rock. I remember those now. So those were found right below me here in the creek. Last time I was sniping. So I don't know what, there's some dirt stuff in here. I don't know what it is. So I'm just going to see. Like I said, I always assume that there's gold. So I never just want to dump something without looking and verifying first. Just doing a quick pan just to see. This might have just been incidental dirt that got in here. Because usually what I do when I'm sniping in the creek, I'll put a gold pen underwater, put a big rock in it. So if I'm sniping in there and I find whatever, it could be an old nail, it could be a piece of lead, it could be a piece of glass, whatever, it doesn't matter. I usually just sink one and just throw stuff so I have a place to put it. And that's maybe what this is. I don't know, I do see some lead already. So this, let me grab this real quick. This will help. A little fragmented piece of lead, a very, very, very tiny piece of lead shot. There is two tiny pieces of gold here. There's one there, one there. There's another piece here, which just looks like it's got something with it, and as well as a little tiny one here. I'm not trying to move it with the thing, I'm trying to show it here, if you can see it right there. But there's a neat little trick we can do with, because that black stuff, if you recall, I said was ironite, iron. So what we can do, real simple, let me remove that lead real quick. Back in that little lead bottle. So you can use magnets. So like, whoops, like this magnet here. So the magnet's on the end of this little spring-loaded thing. So I pushed it down. The magnet's close to the plastic. I can go like this, pick up some of that iron, come off. To help separate things out. Andy, are you saying in one day, or what's? Give me a little bit more context to that question, please. So I'm gonna just pick up. There's actually 3 pieces of lead in here. That organic material out. That. Piece of metal. I have not found 1 ounce in one day. I've found about 2/3 of an ounce in one day running the dredge. That's the most I've found in one day. So let's take this magnet. Put a little bit of water in here so you guys can see how this works. So you can see I picked up a little bit of that black material, that ironite, the black sands, the iron, that's magnetic in this thing here. So I'll just keep that aside for a second so I can use that for, let me put a little bit more water in it. It'd be easier to get that off there. Next section, we're using the magnet. It's actually easier to do with a little bit more water. So we just run this through here. So not all black sand, not all heavies is magnetic, but some of it is. So we got a little bit more here. And then the rest of it, what I'll do, oh, a piece of lead that I missed somehow. Actually, let me look at that closer. Magneto from the X-Men. Yeah, he'd make my job a lot easier. And I can do that with that too. But I've got to be very careful with that because I do not want to mix that up with anything else, because like I said, that's got the mercury on it. So that's why I have it separate. So as I'm identifying it, because you could actually have one good clean piece, touch a piece of that, and then some of that mercury will just jump right over onto the new piece of gold. It's really a pain in the ass. So give me a second here, because got a little ahead of myself here. So let me just set this here, grab, put the lid back on this lead thing, just scoop out of the way. So what I'm going to do is kind of just try to get this little, let me dump a little bit of this water off. Okay, so I've got some of the gold kind of separated here now off the side in here. So I'm going to use a snuffer bottle. So I squeeze it and just suck it right up. Time is it?
4:25.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna have to kind of stop soon, so I do have to meet my mom's in here yelling at me. Hey, thank you, Slick. Appreciate it. But let me just show you kind of what, let me take a clean pan and just show you guys some things here. Because I know you want to see some gold, and like I said, I'm not running out of time. I didn't realize it was so late. So we can kind of see you guys can see what some of this stuff is. what we're getting to. And yes, I've got multiple snuffer bottles. I'm not sure why. And what we're doing, Slick, we've just been cleaning up some of the gold concentrates I've had sitting around for a while that I haven't done anything with. I need another pan. There we go. Okay, I need some more water, so bear with me a second. Give you guys something to look at here. What I'm doing is emptying out some of these snuffer bottles into little things, so I need to combine them anyways. You would think you'd say, hey, this is gold, why are you so whatever, but I don't know. This is small amounts of gold, so. These quantities we're dealing with right here are not life-changing amounts, but we'll get you guys to see what we're dealing with here before I stop. So there's some gold. That's what we're trying to accomplish here and kind of get to. There's a few of these pieces are bigger. So this is what you call, say, a picker. A small chunky piece of gold. I don't know, that's probably only a couple grams worth, but when you hear it drop, it's always a good thing. Like I said, there's just a little small amount there. I had in some of my. So this amount of gold, or this gold, just so you know, this is what I picked out before I cleaned all this stuff up that we ran through there, which, like I said, we still have this gold in here to clean out, which I'll do that later. But this was in the front part of that sluice box. So that's what this is all. This is all from that trip. Like I said, we had that one decent piece here. You know, some bigger flakes and stuff in there, but I don't know a value on it or anything like that, so. Like I said, so there's some, give you guys a chance to see some gold. And I've got a lot more from over the years and all the different stuff. So I try to, what I try to do is put, save things from different trips or different, places and different things in different bottles, little vials, and save them. I've got a bunch of empty bottles over here to go out. There was one of them I was looking at, has a, where was it at? There it is. I'm trying, I don't know what's in it, but there's a little, very blue, maybe glass, but obviously I saved it because I saw it and I was like, well, let me save that. But it might be some old leaded glass or something along those lines. It's hard to say. But yeah, like I said, so that's, but I save it and kind of log. I'll measure it in grams, how much it was, and kind of the effort to see, because then I know if it's an area is worth pursuing some more or not. I don't know, there's probably only 4 grams maybe in all that. This I did not. This was all, this actually happened to be running through a I have a trommel and a little sluice box setup I use for some property we have. This was a ground operation. And then I do have gold somewhere that I have found using the dredge. I've got gold that I get sniping just by using snorkel and mask in the creek. Hey Pinecone, thank you buddy, appreciate you stopping by. There is a creek right over here down the thing here. I would go show it, but there's a bunch of kids over there swimming from the neighbors. So I want to give them their privacy and not someone thinking I'm being a creep or something weird. But I found a lot of gold that way. Sniping is my most enjoyable way of getting gold by far, because it's like you fan it, you fan the heavy materials, and then you come back and it's just sitting there. Then you kind of clean it up. So do you dive slick? I just noticed it. Just yeah. Okay. So, but anyhow, I do need to kind of wrap this up because I didn't realize the time, and I do need to get going to meet my mom. She's already yelling at me here, or my brother, I should say, to go for a birthday dinner. Yeah, I do too, Slick. I do tropical diving is all the water here in California, the ocean is just too goddamn cold, so I don't do it. But it's all there, so yes, my mother's calling. Forky was using a spoon. So, but like I said, I do need to get running, so I need to kind of do a quick cleanup real quick of myself, and then we need to drive over there to the deal. And those of you that aren't, join my Discord if someone can put the command in there. Appreciate you doing that, and I'll post some pictures and stuff in there as well. Grok, thank you, buddy. Thanks for stopping by. And all of you guys that have stopped by, I appreciate you coming in there. So let's look for a quick raid target with raid and run. All I need to raid and run. So let me just see who's on real quick. Bear with me. I'll try and pull this up real quick. So we could, let's go raid Marcelo. He's on right now, so anyhow, I'll let me get this going here. We'll push the raid. But I appreciate every one of you being here, and like I said, I'll put some more pictures in Discord and some of the things we talked about earlier later, and then we'll raid my living room. Sorry, I'm trying to type this out on my other phone here. Let me change this. Figure out where it's at on my phone here. Homa, I think you could actually do it, because I don't know if AdSense still. Oh, there it goes. Someone rated it. Perfect. Someone did it for me. So whoever did that, thank you. But I appreciate every one of you guys being here and joining me on my birthday. If you let Marcelo know that I had to raid and run, like I said, I've already got mom chewing me out here, and we'll get going from there. Thank you very much. Join the Discord if you haven't already. Also, like I said, we'll post some links to some things we talked about in there. We'll put some information there about the rocker box. We'll put something in there for sniping, and then I'll try to take some pictures too and kind of do some cleanup stuff and go from there. Looks like I need to sub Stream Elements, which I'll do that later. So anyhow, thank you all. Appreciate you being here. Thank you to the mods. I know they kind of came and go, and timing has been kind of goofy, but appreciate each and every one of you. And sorry, I just didn't realize I was hard up against the time as much as I was, so got sidetracked, carried away. Thank you much, and we'll go over. If you just tell Marcelo I had to raid and run, please.